I'm going to be speaking from myself, and then I'll give you an option to ask you questions, especially for those that are for the first time here with me, just to get to know me a little bit or ask you questions, etc. I'm not an astrologist. I don't consider myself being an astrologist, but it's a topic that I've been interested in for a while and for myself and others. So it's something that I always look into and perfect and study and learn and upgrade and take courses, etc., etc. So this topic is always on my mind. And today, according to Vedic astrology, is considered to be a very, very auspicious day where the sun and the moon are on its exalted point, where they are at the peak of their kind of exposure to the earth for the humanity. And we're just going to speak a little bit about the sun and the moon and the significance of the sun and the moon. Why is it important? And of course, the way I look at things, it's not purely astrology, it's mostly psychology, it's mostly how it affects us, how it helps us, what we should know, and what we should be aware of. So the sun and the moon are the main planets in Vedic astrology. Even though in a regular Western astrology, the sun is considered to be the main planet, but in a Vedic astrology, in fact, moon is more important. If we're talking about the sun and the moon, it's moon is responsible for our mind, where mind is pure and clear and centered and subtle. That's the most important for the mind state of being, to be settled, to be clear. And the moon is responsible for intuition. And not to say that we all have to have a good intuition, but when the mind is quiet, when the mind is centered, our intuition kicks in. We all have a kind of connection with our higher self. In fact, we are more not physical, we are more astral and metaphysical, and we are more spiritual, right? We, about 75% of us, not operating here. There is certain like conviction that me is only a human being, but in fact, all our energies, all our strengths, all our capabilities are not here. It's all above this physical realm. And only about 30% provide strength to what we know here is on a physical realm. And mind, if it's upset or it's preoccupied with something or it's obsessive about something or it's compulsive or overthinks or over stimulated, etc., it blocks that connection. So mind is like a, it's like a path to our ability, to our higher or bigger part of us, right? And the sun is responsible, sun is also a significance of a soul. It actually shows in a chart your mission, your job in this world, why the soul decided to make this move here, why is it interested, and where it's placed, which sign it's placed, which degree it's placed, which aspects, together with which planets it's in your personal chart. It shows and it gives hints why your soul decided to come reincarnate here. But there are general a kind of keys and rules to the mind, which is moon, and the sun, which is our purpose and our mission in this world. Also, the sun and the moon represent the past of our existence. We are in 3D reality where we are kind of constricted and we are fixated in the time space, and we are very focused about the present and the future. So the in a chart, the future of what is going to become of me, who I am, what my kids will look like, what are they about, what are they going to come to me for, what am I responsible for them for, etc., etc. The planets that show that, and actually your interaction with your partner and with your husband or wife, etc. Those are the planets mostly hinting about the future. It's always about Mars and Venus. And if you want to find out those topics, so to speak, and you're interested, it's always the position of the Mars and Venus. But the moon and the sun hints a lot in your relationship with your parents. Mother is the moon and the father is the sun. And if your position in your chart of the sun and the moon is great, that means there is a help from above, that your interaction with your parents, whether a mother or a father, could be smooth and beautiful and harmonious, etc. And it also could hint if, let's say, a person's sun and the moon is, so to speak, not in a good placement, it could mean that there's some lessons back there, starting with your parents. And if they're not finished and they're not concluded or taken fully to consideration, those lessons, you will definitely carry them into your relationship with your partners and then later on with your children. So the sun and the moon is, in a way, is the first step of where absolute God, which is above duality, splits into two flows, man and woman flows. And that's where all the duality begins, right? Where we start seeing man tendency, masculine tendency, and feminine tendency. Even before a man and a woman comes in, we are under effect of the, so to speak, spiritual realms and physical realms of those planets, sun and the moon. And eventually it affects our parents, and eventually it affects our performance as a man in the world or a woman in the world. And what does that mean, to be in tune with your feminine femininity or your muscular part? And we all, even for a man, there is a feminine element to him, and even in a woman there is a muscular element to her. And it's important to develop them both. We have to become like a wholesome people, right? We go through duality, we study duality, we kind of learn lessons within duality, but we come out in a way that we are above duality and we connect to the God Almighty who is above all at all, right? So today's day, a lot of people ask those questions, and that's why I decided to give this webinar. And the questions were, does it mean our intuitions is stronger? Does it mean everything will flow, the blessings, the doors will open, the blessings will come our way, etc., etc.? I don't believe it has to do with how it affects you. It stimulates automatically your intuition. Intuition is something that we need to work on by creating a certain surroundings for ourselves, by clarifying, clearing our mind, by eating better, by interacting with more clean people, so to speak, people with clear mind, with kind of and inspired souls, right? It all affects what we do, who we speak to, what we eat, what we surround ourselves with, what we preoccupy ourselves. That all affects our intuition. It's a day-to-day work. It doesn't automatically happen, right? And similarly, it doesn't automatically happen the blessings that the sun gives. The sun gives the riches, the fame, the approval of society, acceptance, ability to have effect on masses, right? So the sun at its peak, when the person, let's say, matured in their sun's energy, whether it's a woman or a man, that means they are able to communicate their passion, their mission to bigger groups. So that's how we know the mercy of sun affected us in a good way, right? That means you did something in your relationship with your dad, in your relationship with your spiritual teachers, in your relationship to your spiritual path or religious path. You gave enough, you, so to speak, served enough in those areas, and then sun grants you with those blessings that the sun gives. As I said, that's just like a sun shines, right? Whenever the sun transits a specific house in your chart, let's say it transits the house of the fifth house, which gives additional strength, right? So the sun will bless you if you accumulated throughout the years a certain blessing towards the sun, those areas that I mentioned. The sun will bless you with fame, with good children, or some blessings from your children, or some love story, or some romantic story, or some breakthrough in life, right? And or missions that you left from your previous life would also be fulfilled or completed when the sun transits your fifth house. I'm just giving an example. Or if the sun goes into your seventh house, which is the sun, which is the planet, which is the house of partnership, right? And if you accumulated enough merits towards the sun, or within the rhythm of sun, within the nature of sun, so the sun gives the blessings for the partnership, for blessings, for expansion within the partnership, for some breakthrough. And that's how we know that we are blessed. So work is done on a daily basis, but the blessings are come in on occasional kind of level. And this is the day when the sun and the moon at its peak. And of course, there are hours between those 2 days, because the moon transits in one house for about a day and a half or 2 days and a half, depending where you live. If you're in Japan, where the day starts, basically the morning is the first morning on earth, yeah. Or if, let's say, you are somewhere further away, it depends for how long, but between the 2 to 2.5 days, the moon is transiting one sign. And when we have a moon and a sun at exaltated point, that means a lot of things that were harder, and harder for me to accomplish, harder for me to accumulate as merits, it will be easier. And a lot of people who are in tune with this thoughts, or they serve the Vedic astrology, or they follow, or they devoted or loyal to this whole system, they would do a lot of sacrifice. They would be nice. They would pray more. They would fast on those days. They would make investments, or make sure they buy, if they wanted to buy a house, or they wanted to buy something big, and they wanted to sign the contract, they would plan it should be on this day, because this day on its own has a specific blessed energy, right? But not to say that you wouldn't do anything on your own, and you would wait for that day and wait for the blessings to just knock on your door. It doesn't work that way. I just wanted to add, you could interrupt me if there's certain things you don't understand from what I'm saying here, or you have questions specifically on what I'm saying. You could just raise your hand and I will see you. And then I will be able to take your questions. It's interesting to know that our relationship with our parents are the main relationship. And there are a lot of thoughts about all those insights and ideas, and how people kind of interpret what does that mean to be respectful, to be honorable, to be loving. And at the same time, psychologically, we know we need to separate from our parents. We need to kind of let go and move on and be in our own energies and in our own path, and be able to accomplish on our own, and not to continue their path in a way fully, right? So there's like a conflicted thoughts. And in fact, there are some thoughts that say you need to honor despite some triggers and maybe even some abuse and even maybe some damage that the parents did towards you. And this is also a conflict on its own, where you are, by certain thoughts or certain ideas, you need to, no matter what, be able to forgive. And I think it's important to speak about it since we're talking about the sun and the moon. And no matter what we decide on this day, it's going to be more auspicious, more easier to break through certain areas, right? So we all had issues and have issues with our parents. There is not a single person in this world that came without a single lesson dealing with our parents. Sometimes it's obvious in a chart. Sometimes I just open the chart and the first thing I say to a person, you have issues with your mom, because it's so obvious in the chart. It's just like speaking to me. And sometimes you need to speak to a person in order to get there. But we all have issues and it's normal. We go through those lessons, we mature through them, we become different, we change, we upgrade, we grow into something completely new, right? And it's important to have issues. Issues does not define us as negative, as low people, or less spiritual, or less inspired, or less important. No, we all have to have issues with our parents. Our parents adapt us into this world through traumas. Believe it or not, certain traumas are specifically done by our parents to us in order to land us here fully, completely. And when we hear from some teachers or some school of thoughts, you need to forgive, you need to let go, you need to love no matter what. Some of us could have conflict, but he was abusive, but she was neglectful, or she was harmful, or he was not even there, he didn't care about me, or he left us to another family. And I hear all those stories all the time, right? And it's important for us to do this a little work and say to yourselves that there is a part in me that will never be able to forgive our mothers and our fathers. And I will give that part of me place. I will acknowledge and I will allow that part of me to have its space. Therapeutically, it's important to identify there's certain parts that were so harmed by some of our, whether it's spiritual teachers as parents, or biological parents, or step parents. Some of you went through some lessons there. It's important to just say to yourself, yes, I have in me a certain degree of non-forgiving. I will never be able to forgive that part of what they did to me, or how they came about, or how they treated me. And just sit with it. Allow things to settle in you and be okay with that. But there are some parts that are more mature, closer, so to speak, to the soul, where there is no parents and there is no interaction with parents and there is no clinginess and attachment to identity as me in this reincarnation. It's easier to forgive, and it's true, it's easier to love. So we are multi-layered human beings. We are not just one that is obligated to forgive no matter what, just because it says you have to forgive, or to love no matter what, or to pretend no matter what, right? No, there are certain parts in us that are so human and so bodily oriented. You just relax into that and say, that part of me does not want to forgive. My mother was abusive. Let's say she was hitting and hurting and abusing, and she was neglecting, and no matter what it is, or my father decided to be checked out, or he never wanted to be involved in my life. And listen to that part of you that does not want to forgive and say, I love and accept you. And believe it or not, if you give your love and acceptance to that part of you, the love will start creeping in. That's how it works. That's how you introduce or bring in and mature those parts that are not ready to forgive. Right? Okay. Is there a question or I heard things? So that's in regards to the sun and the moon. I also want to speak a little bit about being responsible because the sun, stimulating the sun energy in our life, is being able to be responsible for what's going on in your life. That means not to blame anyone or anything, not the weather, not my neighbors, not my landlord, not my boss, not my older brother. It's like if you do astrology a little bit and you see if the sun is either at the lowest kind of position or placement, a person has tendency to just like constantly whine, right? Constantly complain, constantly blame, and constantly need to just like vent, so to speak. I just need to boo 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 and da 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 in the government and look at Trump and look at Israel and how many people will die and why is this and what's going on and why am I living in this setup and what did I do wrong and why am I not married for 10 years and the rest of it, right? So this like a tendency to complain, it's a sign of the weak sun. Sun says this is what it is, this is what I earned karmically. That's the setup. That's the perfect setup. There's no mistakes. Whether I have money, whether I have partner or not, whether I have good friendship or not, whether I have good setup, a living setup or not, this is what is perfect for me at this moment. The out of all possibilities, this is the best possibility that I have right now, and I truly surrender to it. I submit, I accept, like this ability to submit and surrender with honor, knowing that there's always higher beings surrounding you and planning for you and placing you in the best possible version of housing or relationship or blah blah blah. Just recently I had a discussion with a woman, and I actually brought this example somewhere else in the channels, and she said, why do I always meet wrong people? She's dating for a long time, right? So she can't find her right one. And that is how we weaken our sun. That's how the sun is not going to bless us, by even questioning like that. Why am I meeting wrong people? Notice she is meeting people. There is a blessing there already, right? If she would just be completely invisible and nobody would ever approach her and nobody would ever want to invite her for a cup of coffee, that means she would have been even in a worse situation. But here she's meeting people and she's just tired for meeting the wrong people. Number one, there is arrogance there, and arrogance with sun does not go together. Well, at the lowest point of sun, there is a lot of arrogance. When people have undeveloped sun traits, so to speak, they are arrogant. They're like demanding. They want the best for themselves and immediately, and they are concerned and complain. Why is it not happening to me? And I deserve the best. And like there's a lot of arrogance there. With the good sun at exaltated point, they are not arrogant, they're more of service. They're like, wow, and I have this blessing and that blessing, and how can I be of service, right? So the sun at its exaltation, they want to serve, they want to share. They have a little bit of something, they want to give it over. They want to share, they want to be of benefit. It gives them pleasure. It's not because of obligation or duty or responsibility or even to better your karma. It's because it just purely gives them pleasure by being of help, and being of help quietly. You see some dishes not washed, you just quietly wash them. You see some trash is not out, you just take it out. You don't look for who is responsible to remove that trash and who needs to, and now it's your duty and tomorrow will be my duty. And like, you see something is out of place, you fix it. You're always at work quietly, in a submissive, in a loving, in a willing way to serve. So when let's just bring this example so you'll understand the difference. When a woman says, why am I meeting always wrong idiots? You know, like they all come my way and they all drive me cuckoo and I'm wasting my time and I don't see anyone suitable for me. And this one is a nutcase and that one is a nutcase. Come on, Miriam, where's the right guys? So, as I said, this is not stimulating your son by far, even by speaking like that. Each word has an effect. Each word is like shooting energy out and creating a communication between you and the universe. And a more appropriate way, and I'm saying get there for real, not don't pretend to talk like that. Don't carry that discomfort and that kind of upset feeling, but speak in a fake way differently. Don't do that because universe sees through you, right? What you carry, that's what shines through. Doesn't matter what you pretend to be or put a mask or decide to look nice and sweet. No, be real. Say to yourself, I truly want to be able to be grateful for any and all interaction with the man that I have. And I want to be as deep and as precise or concentrated or centered that see it's not it's not random that people are sent to me in this specific order in this specific time frame with those specific character traits. They are here to get me places. It's like a representation from the man's world, create a certain plan for you in order to upgrade through this man for 5 days, through this man from 5 months, through that man from 5 minutes, through this man through 55 years. Every man has to has a gift to give you as for a woman in order to upgrade you, and there is a specific wisdom there. And nobody is just by chance or wrong or come on, none of them are it. I need it. Just slow down, open up your heart, surrender, and say every single person that came, even the order of those people, is wise, is special, is specific. And I want to open up to that. I want to be wise enough and deep enough to be able to pick on that. Every single person that were sent as a representative from the man's world, I'm honoring, I'm grateful. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. No matter what they did and how they interacted with you, they gave a chance for you to pick what exactly is needed for you right now. And there is a wisdom there. And I often say, sometimes we want to treat, like, let's say, for this woman that is dating, we want to treat, oh, I want to marry this person. But sometimes a man is given to you in order to develop one trait. He's not meant to be your husband. You're not meant to have 88 kids with him. You're not meant to live with him for 95 years. He just here, he's specifically honored and he's specifically assigned to just give you this opportunity to develop one little trait in you. And your job is to open up to it and understand what. And most of the time, what I notice, a woman needs to be able, through dealing with men, needs to be able to reshape, rearrange her preferences. Like bouncing against a guy, another wrong guy, right? She needs to understand, oh, look, it changes now. If before I wanted ABC, now I want something completely different. And I'm so grateful to this guy that showed up. I was able to reassess my inner preferences. And a lot of those patterns that we carry that we think is important for us actually come as maybe continuous work from our parents. This moon and the sun energy that we did not finish balancing in us, our mother and our father, right? Element of our mother Who is my mother to me? What is she to me? Why is she to me? What did she do wrong? How could I uproot that wrong? How could I redefine that wrong and say that was an adjustment to this world? That wrongness, it's like poking me in order for my energy to start flowing out into the world. So she poked me, and that creates a trauma, that creates a certain pain. And once there is a hole in there, the love that the soul brought from the higher realms could start coming into this world. So um, there is a pain and there is a blessing at the same time in what our parents have done to us. But you have to be a little bit on a higher consciousness in order to appreciate it like that or take it like that. And we as parents do exactly the same to our children, or you will do exactly the same to your own children. You will knowingly or unknowingly will poke them, will traumatize them, will be able to adapt them into this world. They will rigidly react. They will separate from you. There will be conflict. And that's how, with that force, they come into this world. They kind of like burst into this world, right? So that's what happens. And then once you get adapted, you go and you treat those traumas because it's truly pain and it's truly traumatizing and very kind of triggering. And it comes up again and again in anxieties or fears, or like it pops in health, in physical health. It comes in again and again. And we need to calm those traumas down once you are adapted. And it's important to understand this whole procedure. But to say that, oh, my mother is forever bad or my father is forever bad for treating me as such, that is the sign that you're stuck in a traumatic part of the story. You didn't expand into the whole evolvement of you becoming who you are into this world. Just if you have questions, please interrupt. Yes? But if going back to this whole auspicious day today, for or today and tomorrow, as much as it possible to reassess what you wanted to get rid of, which tendency, which patterns, which ideas of you that really was already bothering you. Let's say you irritative person, or you are reactive person, or you are a very kind of judgmental person, or any of those traits that you truly want to uproot in you. Just pray today and say, God Almighty, my higher self, please help me settle that, heal that, because it doesn't serve me anymore. Or something that already doesn't serve you now that used to serve you. Let's say you were forever a preschool teacher, but you really already for now last 10 years could be a preschool principal, and you know that, right? And you could say, help me go into that. I could be more of service. I have more skills of a principal than a teacher. And today is the day where you decide, where you make a decision and act on it. Let's say write a plan about it. On Tuesday, I'm going to reach out to somebody and I'm going to make that move. Or today, I'm going to decide to move to a better settings. Like I hear all the time from especially single women, oh, I'm living in this disastrous house, it's collapsing, it's falling apart, or it's too small for me, or the area doesn't suit me. And there is nothing is done. It's as if like there's some stagnation happening around this area. So today is a decision. Today I'm going to better my surroundings. I deserve the better placement. I deserve the better dwelling place. I want to start that higher being. God Almighty, please help me. And today is the time when you make that first initial step, because you have both sun and the moon at its peak helping you to mature, to develop, to become better, to live better, to serve better, to admit to the world that you are actually important. You are here for a purpose. Our time is limited. We are not here forever, but we want to make the best of it. If I always wanted to write a book, start now. In fact, exactly a year ago, I started writing a book. I didn't even know, I wasn't that particular about Jyotish and astrology. And I started writing a book exactly on this day when the sun and the moon were at exaltated point. And a friend of mine that passed away in July, he was a good astrologist, amazing astrologist, teacher, a teacher and leader and a guru. He's like, "Whoa, you wrote it! You started writing on a day, on a very special day." And it just intuitively, I was moved. I remember that day when I wanted to take a walk, and that's how I was healing myself from losing my husband, etc. And one morning, I have like those 3 hours when my little boy is in the daycare. And I said to myself, I stood by the door and I said, if I'm not going to lock the door now, I'm never going to write this book. And I locked the door, I sat and I started writing. Within that week, I wrote first 80 pages. It was just like coming out of me, completely shooting out of me. And that's what happens. All those things that you always wanted to grant the world, give over, kind of create better. This is the day when you actually are blessed to make that first step. I want to leave time for you to ask questions. I don't want to talk just from myself. Please, anyone have questions?
Uh, Hi, Miriam. How are you?
Hi, my dear. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. So I wanted to ask if I have like smooth relationships with both of my parents, does it mean that the position of the sun and the moon is beneficial? Because I see a lot of people around me and they have a lot of challenges, some with their mother, some with both, but I I don't have like as when I was growing up, I had some tension with my father, but as I grew, I changed and I understood where it was coming from. And right now, I have a harmonious relationship with both of my parents. So, does it
Yeah.
mean that the sun and the moon are in harmony, or what does it mean?
It could mean a lot of different things, but from your voice, I pick up there's some repressed anger, and it could be worked on. We, our system kind of calculates and says, is it worth it to look into it? Do I have enough strength to look into it? Or it's better to like shut the door and leave the some area of my house unclean and just close the door and don't even look there. Let it be unclean. So that's how the system calculates. I think once you clean a little bit of where it lands in your relationship with your son and your husband. A little glimpse of that imbalance with your father. I would say both, your mother too. Your mother also has some repressed energies. You as a girl were growing up as it's important for you to be a good girl, but not a good girl to yourself, good girl to your parents, right?
Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah, so you grew up thinking, as long as I am good to them, I don't need to be good to myself or good with myself or for myself. So that element is lacking. What am I for myself? What am I just as I am? Without anyone's approval, without anyone's compliments, without anyone's appreciation. How do I choose myself? And I think here you're a little bit lost. You just
Yeah.
want to be good for others. And that tendency continues, maybe with your children, maybe with your husband. Am I good enough for them? I don't really care how am I to myself, but as long as I'm good enough for them.
Yeah, that's all. There is a lot of truth there. Thank you.
Yeah. So if you just say, I truly want to open up that door for myself, where I choose myself just as lovingly, as important for me to be able to choose and pamper and make myself happy. even if it's not approved by others. And I want to look there. I want to expand through that acceptance. And there will be some bugs running from your past. Some thoughts will come about your parents, just like creating a certain placement for you. You see, you're a good girl, you're rewarded for being good girl. As long as you're quiet and as long as you are behaving and as long as you're doing what's right, that is amazing, because that's what's important. But that represses you. Your own energy is lost. You are just a serving for them, for that appropriateness, so to speak.
Thank you. I'll think about it. Thank you,
Yeah,
Mary.
yeah. Thank you. Yes.
Hi, Miriam.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for amazing sharing of the moment and the energy in the moment. I appreciate it.
Yes, neither.
Yeah, I find it interesting. With my husband, I've been, I'm married. We were married for over 30 years to get in. He had a job shift in the last 5 years. He took on being a practitioner. I'm also a practitioner. But he took it to the next level where he's working from like 7 in the morning till 11, 12, and it's difficult for me. And yesterday into last night, I just I speak up many times about it, but then I have to let it go because it becomes a really big part of, it's big. He's loving what he's doing, and but it doesn't allow me the deep connection to cultivate deeper connection that means a lot to me. And I have, it's like kind of a little freeze on the needs of connection. Um,
Hmm.
and I spoke for it last night in a very underreactive way, which was like I choose my times and I choose if I have enough self energy to bring it up. Um, and it was when it didn't go as expected, I retracted and I said, well, it looks like there isn't really anything that would, and I just wonder if, I just said to him, I don't think you can really feel into my shoes because your things are so big. So I don't think you can really feel what it's like being in my shoes, waiting for you nightly till 11, 12, and then I just get too tired. Um, and he came out and said, okay, what would be acceptable for you? What would your wish list look like, and what would be acceptable? And he proposed to make a change. So I just find it interesting that it was within this 24 hours, um, not knowing this. My mom, I've had tremendous pain. So the Saturn in my chart is like just growing up, not seen, not heard, not witnessed, like all that. I am finally coming to healing because I feel when I'm with her, the painful parts just don't have as much pain. I can just hold space with them where it, the energy of pain is not there. I can feel myself more than I can feel that pain. So I feel like in that way I'm healing. Um, but the healing is not that it's not there. It's just that I'm a different relationship to it.
Right. So, from what I hear, and of course it's a big topic, but there is definitely your mother's projection on your husband. You're looking for your mother in him. And not to say that he is not capable, but I think there is a time, a sign for all of us, where we need to acknowledge and to say, this is the projection that I put, hoping that this person will give me what I did not receive back when I was growing up. That care, that attention, that depth, that connection, that nurturing bonding in a way. I want to reclaim that projection. It's mine. Obviously, my husband is not willing to play it out for me. Not that because he wants to hurt me, but there is some design upstairs that wants me to reclaim it and to nurture myself. And just in short, I could give you maybe a small meditation where you first acknowledge that you put a projection, hope, something that your mom didn't give you, and you find finally this more spiritual, more capable, more deep person that is very similar. He comes across like very similar to your mom in a lot of ways.
Yes. Like
Yes.
the triggers and the energies are definitely, I always feel like, oh, this is a mom. This comes across like my mom, 100%. I
Yeah.
feel it. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're hoping, oh, since he's more mature than my mom, there's a little bit higher consciousness there. There's more kind of open, not so rigid, fixated, obsessive kind of patterns in him. That means he could be giving me that nurturing flow better. So we look for a mom replacement. We do not communicate with our husbands at that moment. We only communicate with that possible better mothers. So our husbands at that point, they feel extremely uncomfortable because they feel like you look at them, but you're not talking to them. There is no soul connection. It doesn't, you don't speak to each other, you speak to a specific projection. And it's better to slow down when he is not coming with your invitation instead of getting offended or getting hurt or trying to bring it up, even in the very subtle manner. Instead of trying all that, I would recommend reclaim back your projection, say it's mine. I will see what I could do with it, right? Bring it back, take it off him in a way. It doesn't mean he's going to go away, or it actually will better your relationship with him because he won't feel that your mother's dress on him. You know what I mean? He's not going to feel uncomfortable. So you reclaim it and you look at it and you say, there is a child in me that wants still to be nurtured through a mother figure. I have an adult figure in me. I'm grown up woman also at the same time. And I will never leave that little child. In fact, when I die, this child will die together with this adult. This adult will never betray this little child. This adult will never misunderstand or have something better to do. This is a perfect adult for my inner child. And I want to create an image or like a guided meditation where you, as an adult, come to your little child and say, I'm here for you. I understand you the best. No other adult in the world could understand what you went through. And I could give you what you're lacking. And you calm that inner child, you nurture that inner child, knowing that you are the best adult for it. And yes, you could nurture yourself and come back to your husband looking for some bonding and connection, but it won't be as painful anymore when he's not available, when he's busy with something else, so to speak, married to his job, right? It won't be as triggering, as painful. You will totally understand and you will go to sleep when you need to, and you will wake up with a smile and welcoming words, and it will just come naturally. They are not obligated to continue the job of our parents, although we do that for each other. But at the same time, when they decide not to do it, we should like constantly regroup and recenter and say, oh, hey, he sometimes was able to, but not now. And it's totally fine. How does that?
Like, I mean, I do a lot of IFS work. A, I do it with clients, and B, I have an IFS practitioner that I work with. So I'm in constant with this, with my inner child. I'm in a constant relationship. Maybe my inner child still feels by my biology protective, like still doesn't trust that I can totally fill her.
Yeah,
Like in other words, I am filling her and I'm doing the work and I take care of her, and yet she still feels like the lack of the little child, the protective, and there's the tightness in my right side that she's not yet fully trusting, but in the biology, that I'm there for her fully. I do feel like I'm a lot better. I'm enjoying my time myself a lot more, and I can um I'm better in general with my time with myself, but at what point can, is it not, is it okay to say, look, a relationship and a marriage takes, it takes not being married to something else. It takes being, like you have to put in a certain amount, and it's speaking for my need. Like, it's coming out of a freeze of not speaking for a need. Like, that is an adult part that can say, we need to cultivate more time for this. I'm just wondering, like,
Mhm.
do you know what I'm saying? It's,
If there is a need for relationship and you want to cultivate some mutual bonding time and connection time, you have to really feel out that need. That is very, very subtle kind of move, because that need could speak very sophisticated and very calm and very balanced and very adult like, but it could be a need of a child, and that is not sitting right in a marriage. It really messes up the energy because you treat him more like a parent than the whole sexual connection, and even not intimate, right? But just like connecting like to a partner, it really messes up the vibes. He more treats you like a daughter, you treat him like a parent, and it becomes more leader, receiver, a giver, and it's like it's not equal. Partners look at each other from their completeness. Whenever the need creeps in, and it could, as I said, it could really sound normal
Mhm.
within the couple talk. Yeah, let's set up time together, let's bond together, let's maybe take a trip together. It sounds very, very normal. And it should be cultivated between couples, alone time, a retreat time, just for two of us, etc., etc. But that need, where is it coming from? And it could be a very child neediness, and that's okay. We're not saying it's wrong. And we're not saying all the work that you did was not done enough. We're saying that there's certain level of that neediness that is showing up now. And it didn't show up before. Different type of neediness came in before. More demanding, more kind of scared or fearful. Now it's more maybe refined, but still neediness, more clinginess, right? And also the patterns in marriage change a lot. The old pattern of marriage, and you are married to each other for a long time, woman clings to her husband, woman kind of gives herself over to her husband. Those energies shifting right now. It doesn't work anymore. It's not supported as much as it used to. That whole idea that like bond in an old fashioned way, where she clings to him, she draws herself to him. Now the attraction is more from a wholesome me. I'm complete, he's complete. We like each other like that. There is no neediness, there is no clinginess. Does that say anything to you?
Yeah, yeah, we're definitely growing into being, each of us, much more individuated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's much more individuation, hopefully that to land in more connection. So I'm making space for the individuation for my own and his. The more connection, I'm just wondering, will it emerge, or is it something I'm used to, like being the like initiator, like you
Yeah,
know,
you're looking for the old-fashioned bonding.
yeah.
You're looking for it. And if you just stop and say to yourself, I'm looking for something that the world does not need anymore. There's
Okay.
certain play out in the relationship between man and woman that the world matured and had enough of it, and now it's moving on. And we are serving this world. We are here to give the world a new version of man woman. And I'm not saying we go to completely another extreme where there's like wildness going on, but just in my personal connection with a man, I'm a little bit less attached, a little bit less needy. And I want to move very small steps, but I want to make those steps where I find my passion, my interests nurture me more than me needing him to initiate, to invite, to want to be near me or to want to spend time together. I actually enjoy being alone. I want to taste that. I
Okay.
want to being married, but enjoy being alone. It's an expansion of your, it's broadening your kind of view at marriage. Like
Yeah.
you had that version and now you broaden yourself to something different. And it's exciting.
Yeah. I hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, my dear. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
My pleasure. Anyone else before we conclude? Okay.
Miriam, if I
Yes,
could
my
just
dear.
say two words to Honey, the lady who was talking before.
Yes.
I was yawning profusely when you were talking to her because it resonated a lot with me also that I married a copy of my mother in a way. So, what helped me, Honey, a lot is a Bach flower remedy called Heather. I This remedy is for a child, an inner child that did not get enough love and attention, and I had that huge void inside, and I felt so invisible. I felt invisible by my husband, and I felt like I was just so lonely. And after taking Heather for a few days, that void just closed. It was amazing. It was such a quick transformation that I was just shocked.
Well,
So
thank you.
search it up.
Thank you so much, Shulamit, for sharing. I really appreciate it deeply.
Good luck.
Thank you. Yeah. Those flavors resonate with me a lot. So,
Yeah. So you can make a mix or take it on its own, but Heather helped me a lot.
it's the spray on the arms
It's
or
not. It's not spray. I took it orally. I made a little bottle, a 30 milliliter dropper, like this bottle. So I put spring water and 2 drops of Heather, and then I took 4 drops 4 times a day from that bottle. And you take it for a couple of weeks, but I felt the shift probably after a day or two that I started taking it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Anyone else have questions?
Hi, Miriam.
Yes. Hello.
Hello. A quick question.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, we have a friend of a family who is a practitioner therapist, and
Mm-hmm.
he recommended for us to take an herb that calls dopamine advantage. I don't know if
Okay.
you heard of it, and he think it might be a good idea to take temporarily to stop smoking, not be stressed all the time. For me and my husband,
You both smoke?
yes.
Mm-hmm. I don't know this specific treatment. Not familiar with it,
Yeah.
but definitely something to think about today and maybe make a decision today and say, I truly want to say thank you for this whole cigarette exposure. Yeah. It did help us to cope and go through different difficulties. It's a specific helper that comes to release the stress, right? And you
Yes.
acknowledge, don't run away. Just sit with it and say thank you. Say thank you for being there. Say thank you to yourself that you took it. Don't dislike yourself when you started smoking or when he started smoking. Just truly surrender to that day when you started or you developed some attachment to it, and look at it very deeply and then say, I'm ready to release. I'm ready to release. I'm ready to let go. I want to find a support system inside me that could substitute smoking on maybe better mental or spiritual or some relying support inside me that I could lean on whenever I have anxiety or some fears or some stress to cope in. And just don't do anything. Just allow that grateful feeling when it was available for you and you had the option. There were cigars sold in the store and you were able to buy it and you were able to smoke, and just like truly love the whole process and be able to just like sit and say, I'm ready to lean on something higher, something more harmonious than that. Don't dislike or run away. I feel there's a tendency to run away, to kind of close the door, to push it out from your life. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I agree. We tried. We actually stopped like just shortly before my mom died, and then the stress accumulates. You already know what I'm talking about. And
Yeah.
he says, look, it's an herbal solution that's gonna help you more, like to be more balanced mentally.
Yeah.
And then it's not to quit smoking; it's just to get in a state of mind when it's easier to do, so to speak,
Okay.
like make a transition. Yeah.
Yeah, so try and see how it works. From what I understood in the past, when people did, let's say, certain pills from overeating or losing weight or like any sort of attachment that they were in, whether smoking or eating or any of that imbalance, and they go somewhere where they kind of force themselves or force their system to change, but the system is still vibrating on dependency level.
Hmm.
So when you actually deal with that dependency, and why am I depending, and why am I attached, and why am I overeating, and why am I smoking, and why is that? What is that healing or trying to heal? It's trying to heal something. So when you look there and you find another reliable kind of system to lean on and to bounce against, then the smoking or overeating just goes away. It's not that it's wrong. It's just it's found the ultimate or the optimum way to calm you down or to soothe you. And our systems are not dumb. If we vibrating on a very low frequencies, then we can't reach to this like change and understanding and bettering and higher sources, inviting higher energies to come and help us, etc. We kind of look on that level for something that we need to soothe ourselves, and that's perfect. And that's good. There's nothing wrong with it, right? Similarly with the drugs. People come sometimes and like, oh, this drug addiction, like, what do I do? Or yelling addiction or losing like a temper addiction, like people just lose themselves. It's trying to heal something. Look at it this way. It's trying to soothe you from something. And when we look at that something that is constantly erupting, it's constantly showing up, that something could be looked at separately without smoking, without overeating. And it needs to show up. What is it that is constantly coming that I'm repressing with smoking? I'm shutting down with smoking.
Thank you.
Yeah, makes sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
I'm not coping with some part of life that I need to constantly repress it, whether with food. In my food discussion with in Russian, I speak a lot about that, and that actually could be helpful. Like, I'll give you a little glimpse here. I said when I started the intermittent fasting was like and reached like 23 hours of fasting and only eating 1 hour in 24 hours. Within those 23 hours, I had tendencies, oh, I need to eat. But I deeply look into my hunger. There's no hunger. There is no hunger, but there is a signal in my mind, I need to eat. And then I look, because I'm not eating, I look very quietly at that signal. And that signal is certain emotion that I don't want to deal with. I just want to repress it with food. And I ask this emotion to show up. And I say, I'm here for you. I'm ready to live through you. I'm allowing you to pass through me. And that emotion could be very old. It has nothing to do with today's setup. It could be extremely old. It used to be repressed. Each time it shows up, it used to be repressed. Something sweet, something sour, something salty, and you would repress it. And that emotion never came up to meet you, right? So similarly with smoking, when smoking comes up and you, so to speak, dieting, right, without any additional program or additional help, you say, okay, what emotion shows up right now? I have anxiety, I have fear. Let me look at this fear. Let me hold it by hand. I'm holding this fear by hand. I acknowledge you. I admit you're here. I give you space. You're not a bother. You're not hurting me. It's just an emotion coming in and coming out. I give you all you need, and I even have some meditations where I identify some emotions with, I'll wear a red dress for you. I'll dance a certain dance for you. It's like a guest. It comes to us just like any astrological transit. It comes for 2.5 days, and it like in our field, energetic field. I'm sad, I'm upset, I'm mad, I'm not happy, I'm deprived, I'm lonely. Okay, lonely. I want to see you face to face. You are my guest. What dress can I wear for the friend that came to visit me? What song can I sing for my lonely guest? And you kind of play it out this way. You allow the space enough, broaden yourself for the loneliness to pass through you. And then food or any addiction, they kind of die off. You only eat when you need, or you don't smoke altogether, or you smoke very rarely. I'm very much into allowing your system to adjust to what amount and when to stop. I never stopped eating meat because I decided one day when I was repulsed by it, I don't want to eat it anymore. I smell it, I look at it, I don't want to eat it. Then I stop. Same with dairy, same with whatever. You first look at it, you smell, you stop. So it's important, I think, with any addiction to go slow. Just like you entered slow, you leave slow. Nothing like stressful. Those medicine or remedies, they could be a little bit stressful for our system. I'm not saying it is, but it could be.
Thank you.
All right, Nadir. Thank you. All right. Any feedback? What you got from today? What you thought you would get and you didn't get? I want to hear it all.
So thank you very much. I didn't know what to expect, but I had a lot of insights when you were
Okay,
talking to
amazing.
me, and also when you were talking to Hani. I resonated a lot. So I really appreciate it. I'll listen to recording again to
Yeah.
internalize it.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much. Thank you, my
Yeah.
dear.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. I got more than I thought I was coming in for. And that the personal, personally seen and got to go through some of what I'm going through in this moment and be seen and witnessed and have your insight in it was very, very, very helpful. And
Thank you, my dear.
yeah, and Shalom, it's input. So it was,
My pleasure.
yes. It was very precious. Thank you all.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. And all the question the ladies asked, they're very helpful too. And I just have a quick question. Is our partners, like our husbands, are like, they all represent like father or the mother in our life, or just sometimes?
It's in my practice, very rarely where I see both are purely looking at each other without any projections. It's extremely rare case. Mostly it's a projection of parents or previous relationship or some other work in a personal kind of system that the person is working on. Usually it's a projection. We barely or maybe never meet soul to soul. And it's I have a course actually in English where I teach, and I think you were in it, where I teach why we don't meet and what's the conflict. Soul to soul, you really, like the example that I bring there, in any discussion, do this little exercise. When you say something and there is a response, right? Let's say you throw a joke, you said something funny, and your husband didn't pick it up. So it's a waste of your energy. And you should know that. Not because he's bad, not because you're bad, but when two people meet, it has to be one speaking, other receiving, and something third is being born out of it. Then you meet soul to soul. It's like a child, right? But child is more on a biological and physical level. We're talking about emotionally and mentally. Are we in that frame of entombment where one says, the other one fully receives, and then something completely new is born out of this interaction? And that's when the soul meets. It happens very rarely. Even if he receives, he could receive 20% of it. And it actually could be vice versa. He speaks and you receive or not, or don't receive fully, don't get him, don't understand, don't bother wanting to get him. You're too busy, too involved, too in your thoughts. And nothing third is being born. We're constantly creating or could create beings in the setup between man and woman. And believe it or not, whether you're married or not, if there is a deep interaction, deep connection, you're constantly creating systems. If you are connected, if on a soul level you're connected, you're constantly creating systems. Does that answer?
Yes, I understand. But what should we do if we're not like that? Like,
You always measure with that, what I'm going to say right now, will that be received? Never waste your energy. Or even if it was wasted this morning, let's say, you go back in the afternoon, you hold his hand, you look in his eyes, and you say, remember what I said? I want to repeat. Can I repeat now? And you actually make sure he gets it. If he says no, don't say it. And that includes saying, doing, acting on, making choices. It's not only about verbal, it's any interaction. When you are involved, when you're both involved, there is you giving or him giving, the other side receiving, receiving in order to give birth, right? And be attentive about it. Otherwise, it's a waste. Just like on a physiological level, it's a waste of seed, right? It's a waste. The child is not born. Nothing, no other universe was born out of this interaction. In fact, Arizal says any connection, any sexual connection between man and woman creates a being, but not only in intimate connection, verbal connection creates beings, thought connection creates beings. We're constantly creating beings. Whether they're supporting us or they're against us, it's up to us what frequency of beings we create. right?
Yes.
So just
That,
be attentive, be attentive. It's simple. I maybe don't think of it as aloof, right? Just grounded, very simple. Right now, are we in tune with each other? If not, what do I need to do to be in tune with you? Maybe I need to take a short walk or a short nap or meditate or take a cup of water or just like slow down. What is it that I need to be in tune with that person or that soul for that matter? I'll give you a little secret. My connection with my husband after he passed away increased tremendously because, and I write this openly in my book, there was a frequency of his person and his body and my person and my body that didn't allow us to connect on that soul level. And when the one of us became just a soul, and it became the messages that I just turn around and I feel his presence and I feel his connection, and it's like so direct and so vivid and so present. It's just unbelievable, unbelievable. And I could grow into it, but of course I have my person here, you know, my person that is trying to interact. But on the soul level, it's really beautiful, and we could all connect on the soul level. His main mission when he was living here, his main goal when we first got married, to teach me to meditate in a way that he likes. And now I understand, because we lived together for 6 years, but now we have to connect on a meditative level. He wanted to create that skill, to kick in that skill that will be able through meditation tune into each other. Meditation is not sitting in one pose and a full lotus. Meditation is be able to tune in, to listen deep, right? Listening deep is it's a skill that could be developed between two alive human beings. Listening deeply. What is this person about? You could be making tea in the morning for each other, but listening deeply. What is he about this morning? You know, what is going on? Pick up the vibes in the kitchen, right?
yes, it's so beautiful.
Yeah,
I don't believe in it. It just as you're saying, a human being as a physical body sometimes so tired and it's like don't have energy to tune in to the something that's not from here, you know.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Okay, may we utilize this special day in best way possible for every one of us. And may it be a source of blessing for all of us. And I love you all, and I hug you individually, all with my heart. And we'll meet at other occasions. Love you.
Thank you.